This $5 million drone is shaking up modern warfare. Meet the Bayraktar TB2, Turkey's deadly flying machine. It's got a massive 39-foot wingspan, stretches 21 feet long.
Burkina Faso has just received some of the world's most advanced combat drones, Turkey's Bayraktar TB2 and Akıncı. President Ibrahim Traoré calls it a decisive leap in reclaiming national security. But what makes these drones so powerful? Why are they being called a game changer for the entire region? And how could this shift the balance of power in West Africa? Let's find out. The arrival of the Turkish Bayraktar TB2 and Akıncı drones in Burkina Faso was not just a delivery. It was an event deliberately crafted to send a message. On the morning of the handover, military vehicles lined the runway as the cargo aircraft touched down in Ouagadougou under tight security. Inside, technicians and officers moved quickly, unloading containers marked with Bayraktar defense insignia, each holding the sophisticated technology that would soon take to Burkina Faso's skies. For a country that has fought a grinding insurgency with limited air power for years, this day marked the beginning of a new chapter. President Ibrahim Traoré's appearance at the event was carefully timed. Dressed in his trademark military fatigues, he stepped onto the tarmac to inspect the drones up close, a symbolic gesture that resonated far beyond Burkina Faso's borders. This was no mere procurement. It was a declaration that the country would no longer fight its wars with outdated tools or remain dependent on foreign forces for aerial support. Traoré emphasized that the drones had already undergone preliminary tests in Burkina Faso, performing well under desert conditions and providing surveillance data previously impossible to obtain. The deal with Turkey had been quietly in motion for months, kept under wraps to avoid tipping off insurgent networks known for exploiting information gaps. Turkish engineers had already visited Burkina Faso earlier in the year to assess logistics for drone operations and pilot training. By the time the delivery was made public, dozens of Burkina-based soldiers had completed drone operation courses in Turkey, ensuring that the systems could be deployed immediately. In military terms, this was a ready-to-fight package, not just hardware sitting idle in a hangar. Observers also noted the symbolism of the chosen models. The Bayraktar TB2 has become one of the most recognizable combat drones in the world, credited with shifting battle outcomes from Libya to Ukraine. Its smaller size and lower cost make it accessible, but its precision-guided weaponry makes it comparable to far more expensive systems. Meanwhile, the inclusion of the Akıncı, Turkey's flagship heavy drone, signaled something else entirely. Burkina Faso was aiming for a multi-layered air capability, not just limited surveillance. The Akıncı can fly higher, carry heavier payloads, and support advanced missions, making Burkina Faso one of the few African nations to operate such a powerful platform. Reactions within the country were swift. Many Burkina-based citizens, weary of years of insurgent attacks, hailed the acquisition as a turning point. Social media buzzed with images of the drones being unloaded, often accompanied by patriotic slogans and calls for reclaiming our skies. In some quarters, however, there were questions. Could Burkina Faso sustain the operational costs of such advanced systems? Would insurgents adapt quickly, as they often do, rendering high-tech solutions less effective over time? For the regional security environment, the implications were profound. Neighboring countries have been watching Burkina Faso's military reforms closely, with several also considering expanding their drone capabilities. Analysts suggested that this move might accelerate a regional shift toward high-tech warfare, especially as traditional air forces face budget and manpower constraints. Burkina Faso, by acting decisively, has positioned itself as a leader among Sahel states in terms of unmanned aerial warfare. Most importantly, this event underscored Traoré's broader political message. Burkina Faso would chart its path in defense, choosing partners like Turkey who can deliver advanced technology quickly and without the political strings often attached to Western defense aid. The day drones landed in Ouagadougou was therefore more than a military milestone. It was a statement of independence and intent. Let's pause for a second to say, big thank you to the Black Culture Diary community, where Black voices, stories, and legacies are preserved and amplified. By becoming a member, you're not just supporting the channel, you're becoming part of a powerful cultural movement. Let's continue. The Bayraktar TB2 is more than just another drone. It represents a shift in how smaller militaries can approach warfare. Its design philosophy focuses on achieving maximum impact at a fraction of the cost of traditional manned aircraft, while delivering precision, intelligence, and endurance typically associated with far more expensive systems. For Burkina Faso, adopting such a platform isn't just about catching up technologically. It's about changing the way wars are fought in environments where insurgents move quickly, hide effectively, and strike unpredictably. At the heart of the TB2's effectiveness lies its endurance. Capable of staying airborne for over 24 hours, it can loiter over conflict zones undetected, gathering real-time data without fatigue or risk to a human pilot. This persistent surveillance is critical in a country like Burkina Faso, where insurgent activity often occurs in remote, hard-to-access areas. Having eyes in the sky for extended periods allows security forces to observe patterns, track movements, and pre-position ground units for precise interventions. Equally important is its integrated weapons capability. Unlike many surveillance drones, the TB2 is designed as a fully armed platform, carrying laser-guided bombs and smart micro-munitions that can destroy targets with pinpoint accuracy. This dual role, reconnaissance and strike, means it can find and neutralize threats in a single mission, compressing what used to be a multi-step process involving several aircraft into one streamlined operation. In the fight against mobile insurgent groups, who often vanish after an attack, this rapid strike capability is invaluable. What truly distinguishes the TB2, however, is its simplicity and cost-effectiveness. Traditional fighter jets require highly skilled pilots, complex maintenance facilities, and significant operational budgets. The TB2, by contrast, is controlled remotely and supported by relatively compact ground infrastructure, making it easier to deploy quickly and in multiple locations simultaneously. This scalability allows a country like Burkina Faso, with limited defense budgets, to field an advanced air capability without the financial burden of a conventional air force. Recent upgrades to the platform have taken it even further. The TB2 TAI variant now integrates artificial intelligence into flight control and target acquisition, enabling semi-autonomous operation. This means fewer operators are needed to manage multiple drones, and decision-making can be accelerated in high-pressure scenarios. Additionally, satellite communication links extend their operational range well beyond line of sight, allowing Burkina Faso's military to monitor distant parts of its territory without repositioning ground control stations. The drone's track record in global conflicts underscores its value. In Ukraine, TB2s were credited with disabling critical Russian assets early in the conflict. In Libya, they shifted the momentum of battles by targeting air defense systems and supply lines. These experiences show that the TB2 is not just a surveillance tool, but a force multiplier capable of altering battle outcomes when used strategically. Burkina Faso's leadership has taken note, recognizing that adopting such proven technology could allow them to respond more effectively to insurgencies that have long exploited terrain and mobility advantages. For soldiers on the ground, the change is tangible. Instead of relying on delayed intelligence reports or limited helicopter reconnaissance, troops can now receive live video feeds from the TB2 in the field. This real-time connection between aerial surveillance and ground operations drastically improves coordination and reduces the risk of ambushes. It also opens possibilities for precision operations at night or in poor weather scenarios where conventional forces often struggle. The addition of TB2 drones is, therefore, more than an incremental improvement. It's a transformational step. It gives Burkina Faso capabilities previously reserved for wealthier nations, creating a foundation for a modernized military approach built on speed, precision, and persistent intelligence. As the country integrates these drones into regular operations, the question now shifts from what the TB2 can do to how quickly it will reshape the dynamics of Burkina Faso's counterinsurgency campaigns. If the Bayraktar TB2 represents an affordable revolution, the Bayraktar Akıncı is its ambitious big brother, a machine built not merely for surveillance and precision strikes, but for redefining what a drone can accomplish in modern warfare. Its arrival in Burkina Faso, alongside the TB2, signals that President Ibrahim Traoré isn't just looking for incremental improvement. He is building an aerial force designed to leapfrog into the future. The Akıncı stands apart due to its size and capabilities. With a wingspan of over 20 meters and powered by twin turboprop engines, it can fly at altitudes exceeding 40,000 feet and carry payloads more commonly associated with manned combat aircraft. For Burkina Faso, this means a platform capable of mounting longer missions, delivering heavier strike packages, and operating at altitudes where traditional small arms and portable anti-aircraft weapons pose minimal threat. In other words, these drones are built to dominate contested skies. Unlike the TB2, which focuses primarily on tactical reconnaissance and small precision strikes, the Akıncı supports a wide array of weapons, including guided bombs, air-to-ground missiles, and even air-to-air armaments for defensive purposes. This flexibility transforms it from a counterinsurgency tool into a potential strategic asset capable of deterring external threats and supporting large-scale operations across multiple theaters. The onboard technology is where the Akıncı truly enters next-generation territory. Its sensor suite integrates synthetic aperture radar, electronic support measures, and signal intelligence capabilities, allowing it not only to detect ground targets but also to map and monitor electronic emissions over vast areas. For Burkina Faso, this capability opens new dimensions of surveillance, including tracking insurgent communications and movement in remote areas, identifying illegal supply routes, and even monitoring borders for trafficking and smuggling operations. Artificial intelligence plays a far more prominent role in the Akıncı than in the TB2. AI-assisted navigation, threat detection, and decision support allow the drone to handle complex situations autonomously, including dynamic route planning to avoid air defenses or to engage targets based on preset criteria. This automation reduces the operational load on ground crews and allows Burkina Faso to manage more drones simultaneously without compromising decision-making speed or accuracy. The Akıncı's endurance is another critical factor. With the ability to remain airborne for over 24 hours while carrying significantly more payload than the TB2, it can loiter over high-priority areas for extended periods or deliver heavier strikes deep inside enemy-held territory. This endurance, combined with its high-altitude capability, makes it a perfect platform for both surveillance and decisive action. In regions like northern Burkina Faso, where insurgent groups exploit rugged terrain and cross-border sanctuaries, this means fewer safe havens and more opportunities for preemptive operations. Its acquisition also reflects a shift in Burkina Faso's defense philosophy. Rather than relying solely on light, tactical platforms, the country now possesses a heavy drone that can serve as the backbone of future air operations. This is not just about responding to insurgents, it is about projecting state power over remote areas, securing critical infrastructure like mining sites, and even cooperating with regional allies in joint operations. For neighbors still dependent on manned aircraft or foreign support, Burkina Faso's Akıncı fleet sends a clear message. It intends to lead, not follow, in West Africa's drone revolution. These drones also pave the way for local expertise. Bayraktar Defense has provided training for operators and maintenance crews, creating a pool of Burkina-based specialists familiar with advanced drone technology. This transfer of knowledge ensures that the Akıncı drones are not just showpieces, but fully integrated into Burkina Faso's operational doctrine. The arrival of the Akıncı drones, therefore, is not just another step. It is a leap into a future where unmanned aerial systems become central to national defense strategies. With these platforms now part of its arsenal, Burkina Faso is moving beyond simply countering insurgencies to building the foundation for a robust, technology-driven military posture. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. The arrival of Turkish drones in Burkina Faso is more than a military transaction. It is a sign of how Turkey has emerged as a new power broker on the African continent. For decades, African nations largely depended on Western or Russian suppliers for military hardware, often with political conditions attached. Turkey, however, has carved out an alternative path, one built on speed, cost-effectiveness, and a willingness to adapt solutions to local realities. Turkey's strategy in Africa is deliberate and multi-layered. Over the past decade, Ankara has opened more than 40 embassies across the continent, expanded Turkish Airlines routes to nearly every major African capital, and increased development assistance in fields ranging from education to healthcare. In parallel, Turkish defense companies, spearheaded by Baykar Defense, have become a leading edge of this outreach. Their drone exports, initially targeted at allies like Azerbaijan, have now reached Africa, where security needs are urgent and budgets are often limited. The sale of Bayraktar TB2 and Akıncı drones to Burkina Faso fits neatly into this broader approach. Unlike some arms suppliers, Turkey does not demand long-term basing rights or overt political alignment. Instead, it offers turnkey solutions that combine advanced technology with training programs, maintenance support, and, crucially, relatively quick delivery times. In a region where extremist groups can gain momentum quickly, speed matters. And Turkey has exploited this gap better than traditional Western contractors, who often take years to complete similar deals. The effectiveness of Turkish drones in real-world combat has also boosted their appeal. When TB2 drones played a decisive role in conflicts from Nagorno-Karabakh to Ukraine, African defense planners took notice. These were not theoretical platforms tested in sterile conditions. They were combat-proven assets delivering measurable results against modern armored systems and entrenched positions. For countries like Burkina Faso, where insurgents move fluidly between urban and rural terrain, having proven solutions mattered more than acquiring brand-new but untested technology. Turkey's expansion also challenges the traditional dominance of former colonial powers in Africa, particularly France. For decades, France maintained a near monopoly over security partnerships in West Africa, backed by military bases and extensive influence in local politics. However, disillusionment over security outcomes and perceptions of interference have driven several African governments to diversify their partnerships. Turkey's entry into this environment offers an appealing alternative, one framed not as charity or neo-colonial oversight, but as a commercial and technological partnership between equals. This shift is not without its critics. Some Western analysts argue that Turkish weapons exports risk escalating conflicts or enabling authoritarian practices. Others suggest that Ankara's growing influence is as much about politics as technology, with drone sales serving as tools of diplomacy and leverage in international forums. Yet, for many African governments facing immediate security crises, these concerns are secondary to the need for practical solutions that save lives and secure territory. Burkina Faso's choice reflects this new geopolitical reality. By partnering with Turkey, Traoré signals a move toward diversified alliances and away from reliance on any single external actor. It is also a nod to the changing nature of global defense markets, where emerging powers like Turkey, China, and even South Korea are reshaping the competitive landscape once dominated by NATO countries and Russia. For Turkey, success in Burkina Faso could open doors to broader regional opportunities. Neighboring countries grappling with similar insurgency threats may follow suit, accelerating Ankara's influence and creating a network of African states equipped with Turkish drone technology. This is how strategic partnerships begin, not with grand treaties or military bases, but with technology transfers that build trust, capability, and long-term interdependence. The question now is how this evolving relationship will influence not just military outcomes, but also political dynamics across West Africa. And as Burkina Faso positions itself as a pioneer in drone warfare on the continent, Turkey's role in Africa appears destined to grow even further. The acquisition of advanced Turkish drones by Burkina Faso is more than a military upgrade. It is a pivot point with consequences that extend far beyond the nation's borders. For years, the country has been at the heart of the Sahel's escalating security crisis, struggling to contain insurgent groups that move across porous borders and exploit vast, undergoverned territories. Now, for the first time, Burkina Faso has a toolset capable of reshaping how it approaches both domestic security and regional defense cooperation. For Burkina Faso itself, the immediate impact lies in operational flexibility. Drones like the Bayraktar TB2 and Akıncı give the military real-time intelligence, the ability to preempt attacks, and precision strike options that do not rely on costly manned aircraft. This means counterinsurgency missions can be planned and executed faster, with better situational awareness and reduced risk to soldiers. In areas where militant groups previously operated with impunity, such as remote villages, forested areas, and border corridors, the state can now monitor, map, and disrupt their movements. This shift is expected to improve civilian confidence in the government's ability to provide security, an important factor in stabilizing communities long skeptical of state presence. Beyond internal security, these drones create opportunities for regional cooperation. Insurgent networks in the Sahel do not respect national borders. They move between Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and other neighboring states. With advanced drones, Burkina Faso can now share intelligence and coordinate operations with its allies, fostering new forms of cross-border collaboration. Already, there is discussion within regional security blocs about establishing drone surveillance corridors covering key transit routes used by militants and smugglers. Such initiatives could transform fragmented national efforts into a more unified, technology-driven security strategy for West Africa. The economic implications are equally significant. For years, insurgencies have disrupted Burkina Faso's vital mining sector, particularly its gold production, which is central to the national economy. With better surveillance and rapid response capabilities, the state can secure critical infrastructure and resource corridors, reassuring investors and protecting revenue streams essential for economic recovery. If sustained, this stability could allow Burkina Faso to redirect resources from crisis response toward long-term development priorities such as infrastructure, education, and agriculture. Politically, the successful integration of drone technology strengthens President Ibrahim Traoré's domestic position. His government has consistently emphasized sovereignty and self-reliance, distancing itself from traditional Western security partners and exploring alternative alliances. Demonstrating tangible results, such as reclaiming territory and reducing insurgent attacks using home-controlled drone operations, will likely enhance his credibility among citizens who view external dependency as a source of national weakness. However, these developments also raise questions about how insurgent groups will adapt. Historically, militant organizations have shown an ability to adjust tactics when confronted with new technology, whether by dispersing into smaller cells, increasing use of human shields, or shifting operations into urban areas where drone strikes are politically and ethically more complicated. This means the government's strategy must evolve continuously, using drones not as a silver bullet but as part of a broader security approach that includes intelligence sharing, community engagement, and socio-economic reforms aimed at reducing recruitment into insurgent ranks. For the wider region, Burkina Faso's move signals a broader trend toward the dronization of African militaries. Countries that once relied almost exclusively on ground forces and occasional helicopter support are now turning to unmanned systems to close capability gaps. This democratization of aerial power could change the regional balance, enabling even relatively small states to project force and monitor borders more effectively. Yet it also raises concerns about arms races, with rival groups or neighboring countries potentially seeking similar or countering technologies. In essence, Burkina Faso's acquisition of Turkish drones is not simply an arms purchase, it is an inflection point in both national and regional security. Whether it leads to lasting stability or triggers new dynamics in the Sahel will depend on how effectively these tools are used, how insurgent groups respond, and how regional states choose to collaborate or compete in this new era of technologically driven warfare. Will these drones finally turn the tide in Burkina Faso's war against insurgents? Can regional allies keep up with this rapid leap in drone warfare? Let us know in the comment section. Is this the start of a new power balance in West Africa? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.